February 4th, 2023, I could not get the equivalent thousandth located issue of 31,600 trillion or so, 31.666 trillion or so, or 31,000 or so dollars, and or $100 from Don Carlos Reed. If that is his real father of Dr. Dre name. Today, with 2 hours notice from either the Office of Defense National Intelligence, the Central Intelligence Agency under them, the Rahm Emanuel, or living god of subprocessor, poison in the smallest nanotube, picotube in your future products, from the U.S. Attorney General's office, the Surgeon General, FBI connected from the former, Oregon State Police, punching a cop in the face in case 2019 CF 001749 out of Madison, Wisconsin, almost over 3 years ago. So everything there, the Securities and Exchange Commission, every yellow, brown, black business everywhere running turf, even those aiding and abetting, who have been caught up in the wake and are said to be worse in genocidal harassment, which is basically your case of Oregon Revised Statute 166.065, subsection 1, subsection A, subsection B, and 18 USC section 1091, genocidal harassment. So I don't work with agents. I never have. I like to know my own indexes of accounts and routing numbers. And it was clear, Homeland, Coast Guard, NORAD, Independence Hall, President's comment line, Governor's comment line, information about national security sent to some of those by my own disability money, arrivals in person with a car before sold by the household in Lowell, Oregon, of only 2 years anniversary, where my mother is so, I guess, blood drunk as a white person, to have stipulated that it'd be 3 years when they were married when I was still in Madison, Wisconsin. So for all that, just reaching the pi 30 marker here, looking down, it was 3:14, that stuff happening. They're being in Salem and having called Congresses there, Oregon, my home state, Wisconsin, the federal Congresses, having talked to the U.S. House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence during that case in Wisconsin, which was before Trump's issue, likely deposing about 4 governors here in Oregon, from Kitzhaber to Kulongoski, Air National Guard from there, which they sent literally 6, pilot units over the top of my tent between the Hyatt and the Holiday Inn in a park with no sign that said I couldn't be there, literally just to not pay me $31,666 today. Talked about Marine ranks and things like that. Sought everything, Pentagon numbers, DOD, waivers therefrom, frequently quoted the statute for emergency recruiting and draft proceedings for everybody of every single persuasion out there, on caucuses and committees, especially for protecting them, and no White Affairs Commission here in Oregon. We have like everything else. And so we go on to Up and down Quark racism, the final frontier. I guess, right? So I'm well aware that my signals have been cut off for years. I've had 30 plus social media sites everywhere from Philip Mark Fabre, where my mother's beneficiary accounts, my father's beneficiary accounts, of which they've had no more in life than like 1.25 million in assets, total assets, between two large homes for them, for us, from the suburbs of Oregon. But of course, not your billions of dollars of turf war science that can't recognize a good thing in 2 hours. That always thinks that I'm some mastermind joker, and not just a 5-card wielding jester set at every poker table for all time. So now we're hitting exactly that point in time. The notion of today's issue, okay? If something should happen to me where I can't exact those citations of law, where I have to treasonously cite the statutes of United States Code and the third volume of the 19th section and things for vacancy of executive leadership, like I said, past Kulingoski to Governor Brown and Governor Tina Kotek, of who ran for governor of Oregon with no less than being there at the precinct 333 building, of which times I've seen on the clock AM, PM, and things like that, no less than 3 times, other phenomena, with construction in their building in Salem. The whole Capitol reconstructed, construction proudly displaying guts, construction or something like that on the building, and Android Auto running around footing the bill for the amplified induction current going around everywhere from ground, satellite communication for cell phones and things like that. Everything from Metro, PCS, from Verizon and AT&T before, increasing to T-Mobile and onto Cricket Wireless. They couldn't even airdrop a pallet of phones, throw one out the window in front of me, let alone leave a packet of money that I would just declare to the Treasury or something. Everyone's afraid that they are the U.S. president or something, and ineffective with leveraging apparently a party, whether Democrat or Republican, and only those apparently, for killing their enemies while they're running for president, or putting that in the party bylaws as far as private arrest and an escalated knowledge of law for lethality purposes, so you don't have to cite things like Oregon Revised Statute 161.255 or know that citizen's arrest equivalent in whatever state in the world, 133.225, as it were. And in those cases, when you're talking about Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution, just the absolute top priority value, peace, safety, and happiness, negotiating with hotels, motels, inns, and things like that to do, what I've never done, ever, any pornography ever, still frame or motion, ever in life, just still frame, right? As classic as 2001, 2002, and things like that, and everyone thinking there's a need for turf war and money on the side to protect image and muscle out those who post things, and 30-plus social media sites had to be called back constantly for pennies when this is going to be someone else's speech and someone else's racism, apparently, right? Someone else's federal insanity doctrine with no compensation for misdemeanor purposes of 18 U.S.C. Section 1506 and 1018. in joint and several, and in counts numerous to the total $32 trillion or so, or 31.666 in billions, I guess, or trillions, I should say, U.S. debt. With, again, a holding company out of Pennsylvania, for any good Kotek out there, coated with diesel and not necessarily just legalized crystal meth or something, or cocaine, or whatever you presidents are so good at promoting without giving people money and being afraid of the IRS, apparently. At the Securities and Exchange Commission, Warner Holding Company, now run by Derek J. Leathers, who looks like Sean Parker. Remember Sean Parker, social media, Napster, and all that? Now, we don't know where all those cell towers went out in outer orbit. It took over a lot of stuff, and if you notice, the music has changed into a following that pays nothing and does exactly that former most citation of cross-state harassment to a core level of the entire human race. And so I'll just say this. If you're talking about having a debt that's 274 or 276 or something like that $trillion below 31 point your measly bank account, Diablo, Mexico or something, you're going to get rid of all forefathers who circled the wagon, Indian or otherwise, who built tribes and borders and everything else, infrastructure, because they were gore swilling. Gore of brains and organs, no blood plasma for blood bond purposes. Good luck. That's a pretty deep drop into an up and down off-market cryptocurrency quantum quark reality. So I'm here still, the same location. I'll just put it here. It'll be somebody else's room soon and after, and you can editorial guild all together all you want, your ugly $1 million butts. But it's just simple. Something happens to me. My last wishes are for everyone who's ever worked for Warner Enterprises or your good Breaking Bad Werner Heisenberg uncertainty principle and conjugate and 3-to-1 females, good pimps. Coming back through teleportation in the same kind of technology, quantum bubbles, started with virgin births and stuff like that, pairing a seed and an egg and stuff like that. Back through time and stuff, there's some very specific information I have. But the highest project of mine, the all governments, no governments, every single government, every combination, every government, equivalent Article 4, Section 3, U.S. Constitution. That's the down payment on all their fucking heads and skulls tortured forever if something happens to me, okay? Everybody at that company who's ever fucking worked for them if I don't get my fucking money.